Getting overly focused on the goal itself, I honestly think is kind of a waste of time. That's going to be an unpopular opinion. So finances are not are not going to be the reason you don't get healthier this year. Okay? Hello, everyone. My name is Allie Virtue. I am a functional medicine nutritionist and the host of the Pre-Diet podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited about this episode. I love a good coincidence, and today we are recording the 26th episode, and it is the first episode in 2026. How about that? 26 for coming in hot to 2026. I'm thrilled. This worked out perfectly. When I was thinking about what I should talk about for the first episode of 2026, the new year, it was pretty obvious. I wanted to give people, you, the listener, a very clear habit-based plan to follow for 2026, but also kind of forever, because that's the idea, right? We're not just following a plan for our New Year's resolutions. If we really care about our New Year's resolutions, we probably want to do them forever or maintain them. Maybe not. Maybe it's a bucket list thing, but for my intents and purposes, no, we want to stick to this stuff for a really long time. And don't get me wrong, there can be temporary approaches when it comes to health, temporary treatments, temporary diets, therapeutic protocols for diet, but my goal for this particular episode is by the end of this podcast, whether you're watching or listening, you will have a simple set of habits I think are the best investment in your time. And most of all, how to get you more consistent at them. Because I don't think there's a huge mystery as far as like, should I eat more vegetables? Should I go for a walk? We could probably figure that part out. But I want to show you as best I can. Hopefully, I can get this all done in one podcast. That would be cool. But how to be more consistent at whatever habits you choose. So let's jump in. Before we get into all the strategies and all the habit strategies, what habits I think are best, et cetera, I just want to tell you a little bit of a story. I started working with this wonderful, wonderful woman, and I'm just so excited. She is just her energy is infectious. I love talking to her. She's just fantastic. So I won't really go into her goals, are kind of irrelevant, but like most healthy humans, she has exercise on her bucket list and she's done it before, been very successful at it in the past, and knows she feels better, all of the things after doing exercise. So she's very well informed. This isn't a new habit. Recently, it's, hasn't been as frequent as she would like, but like her and many other clients that I've had, they're kind of baffled at why this is so hard to kind of get back into the exercise thing. They know it's good for them, they know all the reasons, they know they feel better afterwards, et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of an interesting human phenomenon of like, why is this difficult sometimes? I reassured her, said, no sweat. It's a human thing. It's a human struggle. We all go through it. It happens on occasion and we have lots of tools to help with it. Now, with this client, it helps that she knows herself really well. So she knows she tends to go into things kind of 150%, way overboard, 100% on, or completely off. So that gives us insight into her previous history as far as like trying to add habits in. Because the week prior, we said, hey, let's aim for 30 minutes on the elliptical as her goal. This seemed pretty reasonable. She'd done it before. She's done more than that before. So it seems kind of like a good option. Fast forward a week, that hasn't happened yet. So it kind of switched things up. Instead of making the goal 30 minutes, because I could hear in her voice that when I said, hey, can you do 30 minutes on it tonight? Why wait till tomorrow? Can we do that tonight? And I could hear the hesitation, the anxiousness, the anticipation. And I hear this tone in a lot of people's voices in general, which is why I'm telling this story, when people are talking about their goals or their New Year's resolutions, because they're very nervous that they might not accomplish it. And I kind of want to take that away. So I asked her, I was like, what if I said, we only plan to do 5 minutes on the elliptical? That's it. Her voice instantly changed. She's like, oh, yeah, I can do that. And by the end of the call, she was legitimately excited at the fact of like, oh, I only have to do 5 minutes on the elliptical tonight. That's fantastic. Right. So that was such a good indication for me that like that was going to happen. And sure enough, actually, just before recording this podcast, I was like, I should check and make sure that actually happened before I share this magical strategy with somebody else. And I did. I texted her and she said, I actually ended up doing 10 minutes. And I was very clear when we talked about this. I was like, 5 minutes is the only thing we're aiming for. If you get more than that, that is 100% bonus, extra, love it, but it's not required. And if I'm being honest, I absolutely love this part of my job. Taking someone who is beating themselves up, who is trying all the different diets, all the different things, and nothing seems to stick, and just talking to them to get them to find another place where they're coming at it from a little bit more positivity, a little more excitement if possible. So not everybody. It's hard to get excited about these new habits sometimes, but that is truly something that I absolutely love when working with people one-on-one is just talking them through the hard pieces and figuring out a solution together. Not everybody is the same. I don't have the answers for everybody, that's for sure, but I really enjoy learning from each person and just problem solving with them. But what about you? What about you who is listening to this podcast? I'm an avid podcast listener as well, and I love to learn to grow, especially as I'm doing other things about my day. So whether you're watching this or listening, I want to give you a lot of good takeaways. This is what I like from podcasts. I like something that I can implement or talk to my partner about right away because it's just either intellectually stimulating or a cool idea, or it's a strategy I can use right away, maybe in my next conversation with somebody. Just I love getting that value. So that is definitely my goal today. No gatekeeping, no hiding behind a paywall. By the end of this podcast, you will have a simple set of habits that I think that are going to be your best investment in your time, and most of all, going to give you some strategies to make them consistent. But first, let's talk about things to add to 2026 and things that we can avoid in 2026 in general, because I know my clients and myself included are getting hit so hard with marketing this time of year of like, you should try this meal prep service, you should try this supplement. And man, it is wild looking at some of the marketing that is going on. So let's just have a brief list of what to avoid, what to add in for 2026. First thing on my list is more walks. Second thing is more intentional exercise. No, this is not necessarily taking an extra lap around the grocery store or doing your shopping every weekend. Intentional exercise that is ideally, one, obviously intentional, two, harder than what your lifestyle demands. So if we train hard, our lifestyle becomes easier and more accessible to us. For example, if you have grandkids to lift up and they weigh at least 40 pounds, let's start using that 40-pound dumbbell in the gym so you can train and make sure that you can lift your grandkids safely, comfortably for a long time. More reading. I think reading has so many benefits to it. So whatever you are interested in reading, I would highly encourage you to add more of that into your life. More breathing, more calmness, more stillness, more space to breathe, more, shall we say, being more guarded around your own peace. So you can become that more resilient person, that less stressed person. More journaling. I think this is a great tool for trying to figure out your own brain and coach yourself. And the last two have a big impact on your health. Getting annual blood work. I talk to so many people, and maybe it's just because I'm a nutritionist and people will use this to kind of supplement their efforts to build good health. But I also want to make sure that you guys are getting annual blood work and that you have a PCP or primary care provider that you really like and that listens to you. I know that's hard. I know some people have to do a lot of shopping to find a PCP that they really enjoy talking to and they trust and listens to them and helps them. But I can't stress how valuable this is. Even if you work with the best, adjunct health wellness people, a good nutritionist, it doesn't replace having a PCP that you really like and can go to when you need it. Getting annual blood work, having a professional that sees blood work all the time is just so invaluable. So if you haven't been doing that, this is a gentle reminder to maybe book some of your annual appointments, get them on the calendar. You never know when those appointments, those check-ins will be incredibly valuable. Things to avoid in 2026. This one was easy, to be honest. Skinny talk, skinny coaches. If you don't know what I'm talking about, congratulations. You don't spend too much time on social media, most likely. These are just, oh gosh, I don't know. How do I say this? I guess anybody, I guess, can be a coach now, but it's a whole trend of like bring skinny back type of thing versus the strong over skinny movement, which I was a big fan of, obviously. But just people influencing people to be skinnier for no health reasons beyond just like aesthetics and for the point of being skinny. So hard pass on that one, please. Also in that bucket, coaches with no formal education. Sorry, if you haven't done any kind of credential or certification course, you have no advanced training in it. Red flag, big red flag. So I wouldn't work with those people. It's very reasonable to ask, hey, what are your credentials? What's your experience? Have you worked with people like me before? All of those are very valid questions. I would also avoid people that make you scared of seed oils. There's not a lot of data to back that up, and I can say that with quite a lot of confidence because my graduate program probably didn't have that same opinion when I was going through it. And as I kind of evolved and learned from real life people and continued to do my own research as I progressed through this career, I didn't see enough research, evidence-based data, and then also real life experience of like, I don't think I need to beat someone over the head if they have a salad dressing that contains seed oils. I don't think that's a detail they need to worry about. I need them to eat more vegetables. I need them to eat more protein. That ounce of salad dressing is not really a big deal. I haven't seen that come to fruition in 8+ years. Could be wrong. If I turn out to be wrong in 10 years, I will let you know. I think we can also let go of programs that make supplements mandatory. I don't think that's very individualized or personalized. I usually make supplement recommendations after talking to the person for at least an hour and seeing their blood work. That I feel like gives me a way better view into what they need and what their body might need. Detox teas, detoxes in general, metabolic resets. Um, I don't think that's terribly helpful. Those might just be marketing terms. The program underneath can absolutely have value. That would not be my favorite way to advertise a program, but that's just me. But we don't typically need a big detox or any specific product to detox, at least not in isolation. Some products can be helpful to increase health, to help call it reset your health or kickstart your healthy habits for the year. I would just be careful that you're making sure that this is just marketing and the person isn't truly saying like, hey, you need this detox, you need this detox tea because it's going to save your kidneys or it's going to do this. It might just be marketing, their style of marketing. So just be wary of people who are talking in that type of language. If I'm talking about your health for the next year, I would say if you have a lot of alcohol, maybe decrease that. Would also be on my bucket list. And lastly would be feeling guilty. I don't feel like feeling guilty gets anybody anywhere. In my experience with talking to people every week, it doesn't really help. Negative, doing something out of a negative emotion or in the efforts to punish yourself, I don't find works very well. All right, on to the plan. First of all, let's all just take a deep breath. Let's take a deep breath. Let's take some pressure off of ourselves. I find a lot of people when they're talking about their goals, their New Year's resolutions, I can hear the stress in their voice and they just put so much pressure on themselves to like achieve this by a certain amount of time or something like that. I want you to let that go. Because this year, I would love this year, 2026, to be about practicing these healthier habits. I want you to practice these habits that serve your goal. Getting overly focused on the goal itself, I honestly think is kind of a waste of time. That's going to be an unpopular opinion. Instead of focusing on the goal, I want you to focus on the system. In the very wise words of James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. To be honest, I hope that was a gut punch. It should. So many of us focus on our goals and we don't focus on the things that we should be doing in order to get to that goal. And I think a lot of times that's because people haven't been there. If you've never lost weight successfully before, you might be nervous of what that looks like. You might think it takes this extraordinary effort and discipline to achieve it because you've never achieved it before. So you start with the maximum, most restricted program possible to get you better results. That's not usually the answer. And I'll be honest, this is when a guide, a coach, someone who has been there before, a professional who takes people through these types of transformations all the time can be really helpful because they've been there before. They also probably know what works for some people and what really doesn't work with others based on their lifestyle, other factors, things like that. So they can save you a lot of frustration. If you're not ready to hire a professional one-on-one, try to find groups or communities that have gone through a similar transformation so they can again support you because they've been there, they've walked that journey, etc. Because it's not usually that a diet won't work or a program won't work. It's usually a mismatch of the program to your lifestyle or your preferences. If you really don't like vegetables, a plant-based diet is going to be really hard to stick to. It's not that a plant-based diet or a diet with a lot of vegetables doesn't work. It's that you don't like that part of the program, and it's a pretty big part of the program. So whatever you call it, a reset, a diet program, resolutions, New Year's resolutions, goals, whatever. I do want to redefine it as far as please don't use the word like metabolic reset. Your metabolism is a very complex process. And when I say that, hopefully you're thinking like, oh, if it's a really complex process of chemical reactions throughout your body, a diet's probably not going to reset it, and it's probably not broken. I can say that with a lot of confidence because in all the time that I've been working in the nutrition and health industry, I've come across very, very few people, probably only one, to be honest, one or two, that really struggled with all the basic things. All the basic things usually work for the vast, vast majority of people, like 99%, 99.9% probably of people. The basics still apply. Plus, I don't think you thinking that you are broken is a very helpful approach. Like if I think I'm truly broken and there's absolutely nothing I can do, I'm completely powerless, how motivated am I to do anything about it? No, it seems like a useless endeavor. So please know that your metabolism is not broken, it functions, and you have options and tools to help you. I think, again, this is just a good practice, good way to train your mind to stop looking at the problem itself, start looking for opportunities, start looking for solutions. I think this is the year that we practice getting scrappy, we practice taking action. Speaking of action, what is our action plan? I'm so sorry if I keep getting distracted, but here's my list from the new membership program I just launched in January 2026, Become a Healthier You, the Habit System. So this is a membership-based program. Number one, it was named that for a very specific reason. That goal is for you to become a healthier person, a healthier you, whatever that is, whether that's fat loss, muscle gain, weight gain, preventing chronic illness, just aging well, whichever. These habits are going to help you do that. They apply to 99.9% of people. It really does fit everybody. It's also so affordable. So affordable. So finances are not going to be the reason you don't get healthier this year. Okay? Number two, again, it's built for affordability. It's designed to work forever. It helps you build consistency by rewarding you for doing the things. You do the habits, you get points, you get the most points in a month, you win prizes. How is that for reinforcing good habits? Okay, back to telling you what to do. These habits aren't magic or the secret sauce. I'm going to share them with you on this free podcast, even though people are enrolling in the Healthier You membership right now. The real secret to success is being resilient. It is not giving up. This is why I said we are practicing better habits this year. No more all or nothing mindset, people. That does not help. Think of this. When you played sports growing up, what happened if you messed up in practice? Nothing. Nothing happened. You got back up, you tried the drill again. Maybe you made some mental notes. Maybe your coach gave you some feedback. Maybe you went through the motion in slow motion and took some mental notes of your own for the next time that you get to try it. But nothing really bad happened. You were okay. You got to try again. It was no big deal. That's exactly the same mindset I want you to have for these habits. It's no big deal. These are things to practice and to build on. So the first habits I'm calling the core four. I call them that because I think these ones are going to move the needle the most for you. So number one is protein plus plants. I love a good alliteration, but let's dig into the details. So when I say protein, I'm looking for most of the time it to be a lean protein option. And again, in this program, there's lots of resources. So if you're like, what the heck is that? We got resources to answer that. We got lots of example meal plans, but essentially it's a source of protein. For most people, this is going to be a minimum of 3 ounces, ideally more like 4.5, 5. For an average size woman is still a very good serving size. And then plants. Yes, potatoes are plants. Yes, rice are plants, but I'm really looking for non-starchy vegetables. So vegetables that give us a lot of nutrition without a lot of extra carbohydrates, or berries or low glycemic fruit. So if you have both those things on your plate for that meal, you get a check, and that check gets you 1 point. Maximum of 3 points per day for having 3 meals that have that. And you might be thinking, Allie, but that doesn't guarantee weight loss. That doesn't guarantee any of my health goals because I could have a donut next to those two things on my plate. Absolutely, you could. But those things are on your plate and you eat those things first before you eat anything else. And odds are that's going to fill you up. It's going to make you feel satisfied. It's going to give your body some really good nutrition. And we got another point to help you not overeat as well. Next on my list of habits, of the core four habits, is walking for 15 minutes. And again, you might think, Allie, 15 minutes of walking is not going to change very much. No, you're right. But very few people can argue with fitting in 15 minutes into their busy days. So if you go for a 15-minute walk, maybe walk for 16 minutes. Maybe you end up walking for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. But if 15-minute walk is on your to-do list every single day, you're probably more likely to stick with it. Number three, get at least 7 hours of sleep. And again, you might be saying, Allie, I can't always control how well I sleep. I have kids, I have insomnia, etc., etc. But this is purely to help you reinforce good sleep hygiene, good sleep habits, a regular bedtime, a regular wake time, trying to get your butt in bed to allow yourself to sleep for at least 7 hours. So that's another point. If you get to bed and hopefully sleep, but at least get yourself in bed for good sleep for at least 7 hours, ideally up to 8 or 9, you get a check mark for that next day. 1 sleep point for you. 4 is intentional exercise for at least 30 minutes per day. Now, it needs to be intentional. I already said that little rant about intentional exercise. Ideally, this is lifting weights, some sort of cardiovascular exercise, biking, running, rowing, etc. This can also be another walk, though, because we do need rest days, so we don't need to work out every single day all year long. But I do want people to move 2 times a day. So by getting a 15-minute walk in and maybe another 30-minute walk in each day, most people will do really well with that. And again, this is not your daily life activities. This is not gardening. This is not doing your laundry. This is not just walking up and down the stairs as you clean the house. This is intentional exercise that is for you. All right, next we have two bonus habits. So these bonus habits, I made them bonus habits because I tried to list these things in order again, so you get the most bang for your buck, so you know where to focus. The first bonus habit is mindful eating / stop when you are almost full. So again, combined with the protein and plants, if we're having that on our plate for multiple meals a day, we're eating those things first, and then we stop when we're full. We're probably going to stop a little sooner than we might have historically done. So we're probably going to eat a little bit less. We're probably going to get more vegetables in because we're going to eat those first before we eat the donut or before we reach for dessert, etc. The next one is water. So hitting at least half your body weight in ounces. So if I'm 140 pounds, I'm getting at least 70 ounces of water. I moved this one to a bonus one. It used to be one of the core points for my previous group program, and I moved it as a bonus one because I don't find this one actually moves the needle as much as people would like. It is still very, very helpful. We still need to hydrate. That is absolutely so critical, but I don't feel like it's as magical as people would like. So that's it. You get a point for each of those habits. It's a maximum of 10 points per day. So 300 points for a month with 30 days in it. Hopefully that is a simple enough format for people to follow. And I have a habit tracker. I'm actually going to show you the habit tracker that I use for my program right now. All right, so this is the Healthier You habit tracker. This is the example one. So at the top here, I want your big, big why. So your big, big why is something that is not something like lose 20 pounds. That might be a reason or a goal that you want to achieve, but your big, big why should be something so powerful that has real tangible consequences that you can't shrug off. So for me personally, it's preventing type 2 diabetes or preventing prediabetes. I don't want to be anywhere near that type of chronic disease. So that's my big, big why. I also want to live a long time and have good longevity for my family. So those are my big, big whys. Those are things that I cannot shrug off. I am very serious about achieving. And so when it comes to moments where I'm really challenged, where my motivation is low, like it's raining outside and I don't want to walk, well, that's my goal. That's my big, big why. My family is worth that mild discomfort of getting rained on. It's not that big of a deal. I have a raincoat. That is solvable. So if we look at the rest of the habit tracker, and if you're listening to this, you can see this on YouTube, but you can also go, I have these free to download on my website as well, especially when you join the Free Ship Friday email list. But you can also just look up your own habit tracker. There's lots of different versions. I would definitely recommend you choose a version of a habit tracker that really fits in your brain. You can also use your calendar, a physical planner, or journal to do this as well. All of that totally works. Something that I've added recently, though, is with those habits that I've kind of outlined for my program, is another section for a why. So we have our big, big why at the top, but under here, I also want you to know why the heck you're struggling to adapt this habit into your life. So for the first habit, so meals with protein and plants, why is that important? So for that habit, building muscle really helps your glucose control. So for me, preventing prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, things like that, combating my PCOS. Big muscles are really helpful. Big muscles soak up a lot of glucose. So I want big muscles. Big muscles come from working out, and they come from eating enough protein and enough calories overall. Meals with protein and plants also generally support weight loss. They also support less sugar cravings, better energy, better gut health typically. So those are some of the reasons that I include that habit. The next one on my habit tracker here as an example is in green, and it's in green because it's one of those bonus ones. I made the core ones in blue, but it's eat mindfully and stop when full. So I kept this one close to the nutrition one, so you can check it off for hitting your protein and plants, and then you can also check it off of like, hey, I stopped when I'm full, check mark, extra bonus point for me. The reason this habit in particular is so helpful, it supports fat loss, really, really helpful for fat loss and maintaining your new weight or a healthy weight for you in general. It usually helps people create a better relationship with food, better energy levels, better gut health, because we're not overloading our system full of food at one time. Next habit on our list is walk for 15 minutes. We kind of talked about that one, but that supports fat loss. It supports our better energy levels, really good for digestion. So if you're feeling really gassy and bloating, I really recommend going for a walk. 7 hours of sleep. There is nothing that will help your health probably like good quality sleep. If you're not sleeping well, it's going to be tough. We are walking uphill with this. So for better energy levels, better weight loss, building muscle, better moods, longevity in general, we need to be sleeping at least 7 hours of sleep, if not more. Exercising for 30 minutes every day. Why the heck does that help? Well, it's going to help us build strong muscles, strong bones, better for longevity, blood sugar balance, whole host of health goals. And lastly, Water, drinking water. Hydration is important. I think most of us know that, but it is. I don't really love this habit. I'm not great at it, but I know it's very important. It's very important for longevity, overall health, appetite regulation. If we are chronically thirsty, that might disguise itself as hunger. Often being more hydrated can help with cravings and give us more energy. All right, so that's the example one, and then below is a blank one for people to fill out on their own. But this is the exact thing that we use in the group program. Become a healthier you. This is what we're going to be using. Obviously, if you want to use your calendar, you can do that, but this is exactly what we use. Now that we have those habits, how do I make them consistent? That's the hard part, right? Number one, you need to read Atomic Habits by James Clear. Just just do it. You can also read it as a short audiobook. There is actually even a workbook. I'm working through it right now. So lots of tools there. Number two, when we're trying to keep these things consistent, after you've read the book, in general, we want to make the good habits or helpful habits easier, and we want to make the bad habits harder. For me, during the pandemic, I didn't want to watch too much TV, so I unplugged my TV and hid the remote. Probably not something you could do if you live with other people, but it really helped me get some more work done. Next on my list is make these habit changes identity-based habits. So an example of this that probably more people can resonate with than maybe a fitness goal is think back to the last time you were in a store, convenience store, or at a checkout line and there's a bunch of candy bars around you. Did you steal a candy bar? No. Why is that? It's so easy to steal one. They're just right there. They're small. You can just grab it, put it in your pocket. It'll taste delicious, so we'll get rewarded. Why don't more people steal candy bars? Maybe because they identify as a generally law-abiding citizen. If that's you, it's probably not very hard and probably doesn't take a lot of motivation for you to not steal a candy bar when you go into a store. Your parents probably taught you stealing is bad, so don't do it. That's how I want you to think about these habits as well. A lot of people will say, like, Allie, you're so disciplined for going to the gym. Yeah, but I also like the gym and I'm also a nutritionist. So I think if I wanted to hire a nutritionist and she didn't have a pretty solid gym habit, I don't think that's good. I think I identify as a good nutritionist, and my idea in my head of a good nutritionist goes to the gym. Maybe she's not the best athlete or the best, worker outer, but she probably has a gym habit. So for me, becoming the professional I want to be, that's a piece of it. Next is don't miss twice. We're gonna mess up, life's gonna happen, things get crazy, but don't miss two times or three times, certainly three times in a row at a habit that you're trying to acquire. That's how bad habits sneak in is when you don't do them very frequently. As often as you can do a new good habit is really, really good because you get more practice at starting that new habit. Next is create cues or reminders for yourself to remember to do that new habit. We see this a lot with bad habits. If you have a candy bar, candy bars or a bowl of candy out on your desk every day, all day, there's a significant reminder for you to eat candy every day, all day. So remove the candy bowl from your line of sight, and you probably won't eat candy as often or think about it. So let's do that in reverse. If you see your walking shoes all the time, maybe you'll go for more walks. And my last tip is, again, read Atomic Habits by James Clear. Please, it will change your life. If it doesn't, read it again. All right, so if you're still with me, thank you so much. Stick with me. I am almost there. The next thing I want to show you is how your body burns energy. You need to know this information. I show this to so many people, and I'm still constantly surprised how many people are shocked by this graphic. All right, so this is a slide from a presentation, one of the presentations that I do all the time. So how do I increase my calorie burn? Everybody wants to know that, right? If they have a weight loss goal. Well, this is just for educational purposes, although I will answer that question of how your body burns energy every single day. So this graph on my left here, if you're listening to this, you can think of either a pie chart or just basically a big rectangle, and we have percentages on the side. So it goes from 0% to 100%. This is showing 100% of how your body burns energy every day. And this is called total daily energy expenditure. So TDEE, total daily energy expenditure, 100% of your energy. The biggest block on our graph here is 70% is coming from BMR. BMR is basal metabolic rate. And that is simply you laying on a bed, being alive. No laundry, no gardening, no nothing. You're just being alive. That's 70% of the energy that you burn a day. Next is NEAT, N-E-A-T. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is about 15% if we're looking at our graph here. So that's the next biggest chunk. And this is now the non-resting energy expenditure. So this is something we can do something about, right? We're not just laying on a bed anymore. This is us moving around. This is us doing our laundry, gardening, walking around the grocery store, our passive movement. So one of the best things you can do to achieve and maintain a new weight loss goal is to create a really active lifestyle for yourself. So this is where people tracking their steps is really helpful. So whether you go to the gym or you're just active around your house, having a similar step count day to day or on a weekly average is really, really helpful. The next section is TEF, and that is the thermic effect of food. This is about 10%, and this is the energy your body expends to digest your food. And we'll go back through this graph and how you can kind of maximize each of these sections, but I just want to go through them in order so you know kind of order of importance maybe to attack this from. The last one is EAT, eat. Exercise, activity, thermogenesis. This is the energy that you burn from workouts, from specific exercise, and it is about 5% out of our 100% graph. It is the smallest part of the pie, so to speak. So if I want to increase how many calories I burn, aka if I want to create a really robust lifestyle, so I don't need to be watching my calories all the time and worried about having an extra slice of cake or anything like that, which sounds like a pretty fun way to live, right? Not have to worry about that I'm eating too much, because I like food. Well, if that's the case, let's look at the biggest chunks first. That's BMR, basal metabolic rate. And you might be thinking, well, Allie, you just said that's me laying on a bed. Like, how do I burn more energy laying on a bed, not doing anything, just surviving? Well, someone who is 7 feet tall or taller than you is going to burn a heck of a lot more calories laying on that bed than you. And you're right, you can't grow 2 feet overnight. That's not an option. But you can add muscle mass. So the way that we adapt our BMR is by adding muscle mass. If we add muscle mass, I become instantly more expensive to run or burn more calories just laying on that bed. So building more muscle. Building more muscle is our number one thing so far if we want to increase how many calories we burn in a day, in our lifestyle, etc. Next thing, second thing, NEAT, so NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. I create an active lifestyle. I build in habits that get me more steps. That's what that means. TEF, thermic effect of food. I want to increase my calorie burn from my diet. How do I do that? Protein has a higher TEF or thermic effect. So I want to have a higher protein diet. So my body, again, has to expend some energy to digest it. That protein, extra protein that I'm also eating, also feeds into my goal of having more muscle mass as well. And lastly, exercise activity thermogenesis, the exercise that I'm doing. Now, it doesn't have to be every single day, but hopefully at least 3 times a week, 2 to 3 times a week. We're doing some sort of resistance training, strength training, maybe sprints or sprint intervals to build muscle. Because again, if I build muscle, my BMR is going to go up. And then I'm going to need more protein to help maintain my new muscle mass. And that's going to put my TEF up. So hopefully this puts all of this in perspective when we are trying to make the most out of our lifestyle and situation. All right. That's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I know that was a longer one, but I appreciate you so much. If you are interested in joining the team, the Become a Healthier You membership team, please sign up. You can go to parksidenutrition.com. It should be in the menu there, or you can go to parksidenutrition.com/healthieryou and join there. Enrollment is open. We have people enrolling right now. I would be thrilled for you to become a part of the team. We would love to be a part of your health journey this next year. Again, it is built for affordability. It is built for everybody. It is built for you to be successful for a very, very long time. And so far, I know the people personally who are joining, and they are fantastic, fantastic people. So I'm really excited to see this grow and to help more people go after their health goals. Lastly, if you enjoyed the podcast, please leave a 5-star review on Spotify. Please like this video on YouTube. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are so close to getting 500 subscribers. And lastly, consider sharing this with a friend. Thank you so much for any and all support for listening to this podcast. It is truly a dream come true, honestly. I'm so humbly proud of myself for creating this. It's been on my bucket list for absolutely years. And I'm so glad I finally took the plunge and started this podcast in 2025. And I am extremely excited to see some of these other goals come to fruition in 2026. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.